Either he's officially left behind the good old Klay from years ago, or he's feeling the heat from the outside world to live up to another big contract extension. Klay Thompson is playing the worst basketball of his career, but why? Well, the answer to that question might just shock you. So today, I'm going to uncover the 3 key pieces breaking down the true reason behind Klay's worst performances and why the Warriors may have already decided that Klay's future is not going to be with them. And truthfully, at this rate, he may as well end up playing for the Lakers really soon. I mean, there's already rumors surrounding Klay wanting to play for the Lakers and how he wants to end his career there.
Let me explain.
During this season so far, strange things have been happening to Klay Thompson. Heck, the man even got involved in the first serious scuffle of his entire career. Something is clearly off. But what people perhaps aren't realizing is this situation right here is just a reflection of the inner frustrations and emotions Klay is feeling this season. You know how you're always a little more irritable when the heat is on?
Somehow gets it to step behind the back to Klay. Another 3. That's another tough one.
Well, that's the root cause of Klay's disappointing season thus far. The pressure is at an all-time high for Klay to prove he's worth another big contract extension. The writing was on the wall from the get-go this season. Klay Thompson would need to come into 2024 showing he's worth the $43 million he's earning this season, and show that he was still worth a massive sum of money in the following offseason. But clearly, this has not been the case. In just the first month of the season, Klay Thompson had 8 games shooting 40% or worse from the floor. And even more shockingly, he had another handful of games shooting under 30% from the three-point line. I mean, it's gotten pretty bad. When was the last time the Warriors benched Klay? And when was the last time you heard Klay call himself out for playing bad consistently? Boy, have times changed. But the harsh reality is, not only do you feel the internal pressure to prove yourself for another big contract, you begin falling victim to all the noise out there. Fans haven't laid off one bit on Klay this season, calling him all sorts of things like saying he's officially done, and as the kids like to say, he's just washed. And while Klay hasn't really dealt with any harsh criticism in the past, this year's a different year, and now he's felt the need to respond to the noise saying, I don't care what people say, it's like they don't do what we do. They can't do what we do, that's why they talk. Why would I? Like, come on, I don't care what people say at this point in my life. Ha! Next question. And while it may seem like Klay isn't going to succumb to the noise, he clearly cares about what people are saying. It's immediately why he got testy with this one reporter who asked a rather straightforward question.
Kurt talks a lot about believing in his guys, especially the starting lineup, having patience, letting guys find their game. How much do you value it?
What do you want me to bench me?
I don't know. It's like that's
Want to bench Wiggs?
I don't think I said that.
Okay.
His body language on and off the court looks like he's letting all those voices enter inside his head. If it were just the off shooting, then maybe it would be a different story. But the true sign of a player playing completely out of his head is him looking completely lost out there on the court. See, Klay Thompson is in the last year of his contract, and with how poorly he and the Warriors have played as a whole, it's really beginning to feel like a soon-to-be reality that this long-standing dynasty will finally be broken up. Is another team out there ready to offer Klay another $40 million? Or even close to it? Nope. But that's the critical part for Klay. While he probably understands himself that he's not going to be making that kind of money anymore at his age, and with his injury history, he also realizes that his performance this season could be the difference of making $20-ish million next season, as opposed to the veteran's minimum. And speaking of next season, I think we might have the best case scenario for Klay's next destination already planned out. But before we dive into that in the third piece of the video, we have to talk about the other big elephant in the room that people are glancing over, and that's the dynamic of this Warriors roster as a whole, which takes us to piece 2. Klay Thompson's role changed this season, which is a big part of his struggles. While I'll be one of the first ones to criticize Klay for his shortcomings, I'll be one of the first to defend him on this one thing. Now, listen carefully to this. For 12 years, Klay played one style of basketball, one identity, one play style, and that is being the greatest shooting sidekick in the history of basketball. But for various reasons, that hasn't been the case this season, and here's why. This new plan began for the Warriors back in the summer when they traded Jordan Poole. And while it's true that the Poole trade happened because of the locker room rift that was created between him and Draymond, The Warriors also realized something last season that led them to trading for Chris Paul. See, with the score-first mentality of Jordan Poole, the Warriors felt that his fit with the team wouldn't manifest over the long haul because of how the Warriors system had always been predicated off ball movement and player movement. When Klay Thompson was out rehabbing from his major injuries, the Warriors naturally had to bend their identity when they inserted Poole and saw that he was scoring in bunches. They let Poole go, whatever he wanted to do, however he wanted. But when Klay returned to play a full season last year, it was only a matter of time before play styles began conflicting on the court, leading to the Warriors realizing that they'd be much better suited bringing in a playmaker to really help ease the load on Steph's shoulders, and have someone who could get Klay easy looks since he wasn't going to be as effective moving around, off picks, and whatnot due to his injuries. The plan seemed perfectly thought out when they brought CP3 in, but they forgot something hugely important. Klay hasn't ever played with two ball-dominant players by his side. Even when the team had Kevin Durant, it was different. That's because KD was such a great shooter coming off screens and pin downs that it never disrupted the natural flow of the offense. But with Chris Paul at the center of all the action, his game is to get the pick and roll going with the big man and either get the open mid-range shot or throw a lob to the big for an easy deuce. But this has left Klay out of the mix for long stretches of the game, and it's why his usage rate is stuck all the way down there at just 22%. So while he certainly looks like he's on his heels and playing a very sloppy game, it may not be all his fault, considering the change in dynamic for the Warriors offense. Now, who knows? Maybe the team is able to adjust. Maybe Klay is able to acquiesce to this new brand of offense and recapture his explosive scoring mode. But if he isn't able to, you can't help but think that his already terrible production might just take a nosedive even more. But then again, even if this season comes down to the worst-case scenario for arguably the second greatest shooter in NBA history, there is still some potential hope, and that's in 2024, when teams can start offering Klay a contract. And among the several teams that are going to line up to make their pitch to Klay, I mean, you know what they say. No place like home. Which is the final and the biggest piece of the video. Klay Thompson's next stop is potentially in Los Angeles with the Lakers. Now, am I reporting this? Well, in some ways, yes. Are the Lakers talking to Klay right now behind the scenes? Well, no, because that would be tampering. But are the Lakers ready to talk to Klay next summer? Yes. Don't believe me?
No.
Then how about this? Klay to LA has been a thing for nearly 5 years at this point. See, Michael Thompson, Klay's dad, obviously played with the Lakers for a handful of years in the late 80s and early 90s with Magic Johnson and company, and he's kept close ties with the team since, working as the Lakers radio announcer. And even though he's seen it as a long shot opportunity in previous years that his son Klay would leave Golden State in favor of the Lakers, that time could finally come next summer. But here's how I think Klay to the Lakers is a serious possibility. See, unlike previous years, Klay Thompson is going to be an unrestricted free agent looking to make the most money he can now that his career is officially on the back end. And if the season continues to play out the way it has gone thus far for the Warriors, chances are they won't be offering Klay a new contract. Picture this. What better ending is there for a player who's won championships and many individual accolades than to take your talents back home and close your career on a high mark? And we have to understand the other end of this equation, because the Lakers are likely to be that one team that will favor Klay as much as he favors them. It's almost like it's meant to be. While the Warriors' offense at this point calls for Klay to be consistently productive on both ends of the court, the Lakers' scenario is quite different. Not only will it be the comfort of being at home, but think about what a perfect role Klay will have in an offense with LeBron James, the man who excels with long-range snipers on the perimeter. Over his nearly 21 years played in the NBA, LeBron has far and away the most assists coming off three-pointers made ever with over 3,500. Just imagine what this number could catapult up to if you give LeBron a couple years with Klay as his teammate. It wouldn't be fair. With someone like LeBron facilitating the offense as arguably the best distributor to three-point shooters in NBA history, Klay can seamlessly slide into a role that'll cater to his game and his needs. Let's face it, Klay's got bulky knees and a lot of tread on those tires. But with the Lakers, not only will he get the looks from the perimeter, he'll be able to preserve his body much longer because of the conservative game he'll play with LeBron, AD, and Austin Reeves doing the lion's share of the damage from the arc in. But if we swing back to the Warriors side of things, I think it's still a very much viable scenario that Klay returns to the Bay if the Warriors offer Klay another contract. But the key word is if. I mean, if Klay feels lowballed, he'll leave regardless. But if there's a tug-of-war between the Warriors and Lakers, shoot, it's that connection, culture, vibe, that love that Klay has for the Bay Area as someone who's been ingrained in that franchise for over a decade that might be too much to say goodbye to. But we cannot deny the fact that Los Angeles is going to be tugging at Klay's heart. And honestly, LA might just be the perfect landing spot for him. I want to hear your thoughts though. Warriors or Lakers? Will Klay snap out of it and start playing like his old self again? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be getting back to as many as I can.